Theo the Scarecrow. One magical day, a wondrous wizard named Alistair Grimstone sat all alone inside his cottage home. Seeing how he was oh so bored, he decided to do something that he had never done before. The wizard thought it would be fun to make himself a scarecrow's son. So he got some old clothes that Mr. Moose was giving away. The wizard stuffed the clothes with hay that he collected with Mrs. Bluejay. Then the wizard put a pumpkin in the scarecrow's head's place. And so the wizard had a monkey paint on the scarecrow's face. The wizard had some gnomes lift the scarecrow up on a pole. The scarecrow looked so nice that Mr. Mole even came out of his hole to say so.
"That looks great! Ho, ho, ho!"
said the mole in a voice as low as a tune from a cello. Alistair Grimstone waved his magic-filled wand twice. He said a spell and chanted, "Come to life! Come to life!" "I am alive! I am alive! The world is filled with so much color and brightness that it cannot hide," said the scarecrow, whose smile was big and his eyes were open oh so wide.
"That is true, and now that you are alive, there are certain things you must do. Always be giving and forgiving. Always be righteous and filled with kindness. Now I must go, but first I name you Theo. So use the time I am away to grow by living the best way that you know." So the wizard took off on a rainbow road riding a whirlwind, while Theo the Scarecrow waited for his life to begin. Then Theo the Scarecrow saw an army of ants, who seemed quite sad at first and second glance. Theo the Scarecrow said to the ants, "Is there something wrong perchance?" The ants replied, "We are trying to meet our friends at a dance, but the dance is on the other side of a field filled with thorny plants. And traveling through the field without getting poked and pricked is something that can't be done. So we will miss the dance and have no fun." Theo the Scarecrow gave out a sad yelp. But after a thought he said, "Maybe I can help. Take my leg that's covered in my pants and throw it over those spiky plants. You will be able to walk over the thorns without fail, as if my leg were a bridge or a trail." So the ants took the Scarecrow's leg and did what the Scarecrow bid. They lifted that leg up over the thorny grove, and upon that scarecrow's leg the ants did stroll, and to the dance the ants did go. Then Theo the Scarecrow saw Brittany the bunny hopping by sadly. Theo the Scarecrow said, "Why do you look so upset to me?" The bunny said, "I am supposed to read bedtime stories to the queen's baby bees, but I am too short to get into their tree." Theo the Scarecrow replied sweetly, "If it's a leg up you need, then here, take my thigh, shin, foot, and knee. You can prop it up against the tree and climb up to where you need to be." So Brittany the bunny took the Scarecrow's leg happily and put it against the tree to use as a ladder. When Brittany the bunny read to the baby bees their bedtime stories, they couldn't be gladder. Theo the Scarecrow saw Morris the tortoise looking very morose. Theo said, "What is making you sad the most?" The tortoise replied with a deep and sad sigh, "I have a dinner date at 5 with the kindest rabbit alive, but there is a stain on my shirt that I cannot hide." Theo the Scarecrow said, "Here, take my torso, because I think you need it more so. You can have my shirt. Break apart my body, I don't care if it hurts." So the tortoise took the Scarecrow's belly and chest. He took that cloth and sewed it into a vest. That night at dinner, the tortoise looked his best. Then Theo the Scarecrow saw Stan the toucan cry like the saddest bird that you've ever heard. Theo said, "What is wrong, my feathered friend?" The bird spoke after waiting for his tears to end. Stan said, "I need to water my garden, but my puny wingspan is too weak to lift the watering can." Theo then spoke, "Perhaps I can lend a hand with the can. Here, take my arm. It has a hand. Take it as a gift that can help give the watering can a lift." The toucan said, "Thank you, thank you. This is an answer to my wish." So the bird went away and used the Scarecrow's arm's power to help water his bright and colorful flowers. Then Theo the Scarecrow saw a crying Mrs. Rabbit. The Scarecrow said, "Dear Mrs. Rabbit, why do you appear so tragic?" Mrs. Rabbit said, "I need to make tea and crumpets for a nice tortoise I've met, but the bowl of sugar is too high up in my cabinet. I am much too short to grab at it." Theo the Scarecrow said, "Don't be so alarmed. How about you take my arm? It will help the length of your reach so you can make your sweet and tasty treats. So Mrs. Rabbit took the Scarecrow's limb, and reaching the sugar became an easy thing. Mrs. Rabbit and Morris the Tortoise's dinner was so amazing, they began to sing and sing and sing. Then Theo the Scarecrow saw a worn-out-looking Wally worm. Theo said to the worm, "Why do you look so stern?" The worm replied, "Every night I cry and cry because I get no sleep. You see, I'm afraid of all the forest monsters that crawl around and creep. I would not look so stern if I had a lantern and a candle to burn." Theo the Scarecrow said, "Don't be sad. Don't even sigh. Just take my head and cut out my eyes. Then put my next hay inside my head and use that as a lantern and candle instead." So the worm did as the Scarecrow said and cut the Scarecrow's eyes out of the Scarecrow's head. Carefully, without haste, the worm put the eyes back in their place. That night, Wally the worm lit up the Scarecrow's head, and he had never felt safer in his bed. So the Scarecrow was left with only his eyes, and as you know, that is no way to survive. So the Scarecrow said goodbye as he closed his eyes and died. Then Alistair Grimstone returned to his son. The wizard said, "So it is done." The wizard took the Scarecrow's eyes and planted them in the ground, next to a flowing river with lots of moist soil to be found. In a few days, the Scarecrow's eyes began to grow and grow, sprouting a new Scarecrow that looked strong and bold. Instead of hay and cloth, his new body was made of gems, jewels, and gold. He was reborn because he had chosen in his first life to be nice. Alistair Grimstone went to Theo and said, "You are no longer a scarecrow. Now you are more real than real. Because of your good deeds, I will make you king over every mountain, stream, and field." So that is how Theo the Scarecrow died and was born again, by being kind to everyone and by being their friend. The end.